Alright, in the previous two videos we looked at the straight line method and the declining balance method. Here we're going to take a look at the units of production method, and we'll also take a look at depletion. So the units of production method is the method that is most closely aligned with the matching principle. The matching principle says that we want to match expenses to the revenues they help to create. So if I know exactly how much I have used a machine to help create revenues for that period, then I can calculate out the allocation of the cost, the depreciation, based on how much I actually used it. Then matching principle is perfect that way. So units of production really can help with that. However, you have to have some way of matching, of actually calculating out the exact use. So this happens to be the most commonly used units of production asset is a vehicle, because you have an odometer in the vehicle which tells you exactly how many miles you used that vehicle each year. And so assuming that the vehicle is owned and only used by the business, the units of production method is very helpful for that. Sometimes some factory equipment and stuff, they have little counters on them and little computer chips that can tell you exactly how much use on that machine. And so you can use units of production for those kinds of machines as well. Okay, so we learned that the straight line formula for depreciation was that we took in the numerator cost minus salvage value, and the denominator we divided it by estimated useful life. This is the exact same formula, except the estimated useful life, instead of being in months or years in a time frame, is going to be in units of production. So if it's a vehicle, units is miles. If it is a piece of machinery that's making products, it's how many products did it make? That sort of thing. Okay, so in this case, we are using the same example that we used in the previous two videos. In other words, the original cost of our asset was $10,000, and we think that we can sell it for $1,000 when we're done using it. But instead of using the useful life of 4 years that we used previously, we're going to say how many miles do we think we're going to use the vehicle for. And management came up with 90,000 miles. So now we're going to take the $10,000 minus the 1,000 and divide that by the 90,000 miles. And that gives us 10 cents per mile. That becomes our rate that we're going to use the whole rest of the time. And so now we, let's say on the first year, we look at the odometer and we use the vehicle 24,000 miles that year. So we're going to take our rate that we calculated out at the beginning, which is 10 cents a mile, times the 24,000 miles. And so year one depreciation is $2,400. Okay, that's how much, and that will match. It's more than straight line, which was $2,250. It's less than double declining balance, which was $5,000. But it more accurately reflects the actual amount that we used that vehicle that particular year. Okay, now if in year three we use the vehicle 25,000 miles, we take the 10% times the 25,000 miles, and that would be 2,500. We could still do a depreciation schedule, which would show the original cost of $10,000 minus the accumulated depreciation of $2,400 for the first year, and then minus the extra $2,500 from the second year, whatever, until, and we could show the book value. When we get down to a book value of $1,000, the same as the salvage value, then we have fully depreciated that, and we do not calculate any more depreciation after that, just like with the other ones. However, this may take more than 4 years, or it may take less than 4 years. Once we get to accumulated depreciation of $9,000 and book value of $1,000 on our schedule, that's it. We stop depreciating it. Whether that was at the end of 3 years, whether it was the end of 8 years, doesn't matter. We just keep going till we get to that point. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to natural resources. And we said that with natural resources, these are things that we are pulling out of the ground or whatever. So here in this example, it's a coal mine. So it can be timber, it can be silver that we're mining, or gold. It can be oil that we're pumping out of the earth. So whatever of those kinds of things. So we have to know how much did this thing cost to purchase in the beginning, and usually that's land. Okay, so we purchase a section of land, and then we have to put some money into testing that land to see, is there oil or silver or coal or whatever it is that we want to pull out of it. Okay, and so in this case, the coal mine was acquired at a cost of $1 million. There's no salvage value. Okay, so in other words, we're going to pull coal out of it till there's no coal left. Okay? Approximately, and this is these natural resource depletion processes are similar to units of production. So we have to know how many tons of coal are we going to put out of it? How many ounces of silver? How many barrels of oil? Okay, so how many board feet of timber are we going to cut down? So we have to guess that ahead of time. And again, before we paid $1 million for this coal mine, we would have known, had some pretty good idea about how much we were going to be able to get out of there. And so in this case, for this example, we determined that we could get 1 million tons of coal that we could mine out of that piece of land. So we're going to use just a formula that is similar to units of production. So we take our cost minus our salvage value as being our numerator, just like straight line. And then we're going to divide it by the units that we're going to extract from that land that we expect to extract. Now that may not end up being exactly correct, but we do the best we can. So in this case, we have $1 million. We have our cost, which was our cost. We didn't have any salvage value, so 1 million minus 0 is 1 million on the numerator, and we're dividing that by, we thought, 1 million tons of coal that we could extract. So 1 million divided by 1 million is $1 per ton. That becomes our rate. Every year we look and see how much coal did we extract out of that mine that year. Okay, so in this particular year, the first year, whatever, we extracted 180,000 tons of coal. So we multiply that times our rate that we had calculated out at the beginning, which was $1. 180,000 times $1 is $180,000 of depletion expense that we're going to have for that year. So we can debit depletion expense for that 180,000, and we can credit accumulated depletion dash mine. Now, oftentimes with the natural resources and with intangible assets, unlike property, plant, and equipment, oftentimes we do not have this contra asset, accumulated depletion or accumulated amortization for intangible assets. We just credit the asset itself. So in other words, we would still debit depletion expense of 180,000, but we would credit the mine itself. Okay, this slide goes over federal income tax rules, which are different from the rules that we have just gone through. All these: straight line, declining balance, units of production. The IRS doesn't care about the matching principle, so they're not looking to match expenses with the revenues they help to create. They have a different system called makers, and that's based roughly on the double declining balance system. It is an accelerated system where you get more depreciation in the beginning and then less later on. But the IRS doesn't want management to have a bunch of ability to change things, so no salvage value is ever allowed. And the IRS will tell you the useful life of something. Okay? And they have tables for you to use that make the calculation easier. This means that when you have financial statements, the depreciation expense that's on the income statement is what you did for bookkeeping purposes that follows GAAP and the matching principle. Whereas the depreciation that you calculate out for the tax return is different. This ends up causing some other differences between the financial statements and the tax return, and those differences are beyond the scope of this class. Any of you take accounting program in a 4-year college, you will be discussing that at further length.